a great pleasure to be here, an honor to be here in this room, to be able to express gratitude and share my second chance with all of you. Um, 2 years ago, it all started with a little girl named Emily Whitehead. She inspired me to chase down CAR T cell, and furthermore, the doctors at UPenn also inspired me to search for, seek research, and participate in clinical trials. They encouraged me to believe in these new and advanced therapies. In 2016, I successfully achieved a remission for the seventh time, ALL leukemia, after being in a CART-19 clinical trial. And unfortunately, well, let me back up a little. After my first CAR T clinical trial, or before, I was on hospice with 3 to 5 weeks to live. And I was planning a funeral, getting baptized, preparing for death, and I was very matter of fact and okay with it. Tom Whitehead and the foundation encouraged me to keep fighting, and thank you, Tom. And they still do to this day. I have to say that after achieving remission in less than a month from CART-19, when you're facing death, it's incredible. It's hard to come back from. And so I struggled over 2 years. And one thing that I want to share with you guys today, and I want you guys to take away today, is how you guys have helped change and shaped CAR T, or not perfected it, but how it's impacted my life. And I want to be able to share that inspiration with you guys and hopefully move together forward to achieve a common goal. So, unfortunately, I relapsed this last year, and it was hard to come back from the first therapy in that, how do you piece a life back together after you have relapsed 6 times? How do you go back to living a normal life? And let's face it, the truth is 7 years ago, an initial leukemia diagnosis will take 2 to 3 years, depending on your gender and side effects, minimum to complete. You're taking a treatment protocol that takes 2 to 3 years and condensing it into less than a month, 28 days. And that's incredible. It's powerful. I lost my way after receiving my CAR T treatment, but I found it. And I started to piece my life back together only to relapse in October of this last year. Thankfully, I had the opportunity to enter into a second CAR T clinical trial as the first patient at UPenn to enter into their CART-22 clinical trial. I successfully achieved remission about a month and a half ago. And I have to say that this experience in the journey was a very difficult one. Knowing about CART-19 and advocating for that and feeling or sharing my experience, everything kind of changed when I got CAR T, because I somewhat expected some of the same things with the CART-19 therapy. And so I started to get scared and I started to worry because I didn't think that the treatment was working. I knew my body so well. My cancer was back for the 7th time, and I was fighting for the 8th time. And knowing my body, being in 4 clinical trials over the course of my disease, which has been about 9 years almost, I've really learned and experienced the transition in clinical medicine. I started with a very general protocol in 2010, had an immunotherapy in 2014 that was not a CAR T. It was an antibody, and then a monoclonal antibody. And then my first CAR T clinical trial and second, 2016 and 2018 respectively. What I want to get across and to tell you guys again today is this is my opportunity to inspire you, like you and your work has inspired me, and it's my opportunity to also express gratitude and say thank you for the work that you have done and that you continue to do. The magnitude of your work is astronomical. And, you know, since we're on the topic of second chances, I really didn't, after having such a hard comeback from the CART-19 trial, it was difficult for me to accept that that wasn't a cure and that, you know, I would have to face this challenge all over again. And I thought about not getting the treatment because I just didn't know if my body, and I didn't know if my mind, my body could handle another relapse and another fight, another battle. But I've surrounded myself with amazing people who have supported me in this journey along the way. And you guys know who you are. But if not for you guys, I wouldn't be here because I really lost hope in fighting. And when I entered that second CAR-T clinical trial, I was so upset with myself because I entered that trial thinking that, you know, it's gonna work just like the first one. And then when I didn't have the same reactions, I realized after weeks of sitting in the hospital wondering if my treatment is working or not, I realized that, you know, you guys have done tremendous work in the field of CAR-T and in advancing the therapy because I had what I like to call a perfect storm. We like the storm. We want to see fevers. We know that that's when a patient is responding to therapy. You know, some of my recent doctors at UPenn came in and said, you know, you're the first patient and the only patient I think we've seen so far who got really excited when he had a fever. You know, it took 2 weeks for me to get a fever. CART-19, it was a day. And so I really thought that it wasn't going to work and that I might actually die, you know, because this is my last option. There are no other options after CAR-T. And so I really kind of took a step back and thought to myself, well, how dare I be so selfish and think that I might not actually try to get this therapy. And then here I am sitting in this trial inspired by people like all of you and having this opportunity, and here I might not even achieve the remission. So I wasted a lot of energy, not wasted, but I spent a lot of energy worried about what may happen, what could happen. And in reality, the CAR-22 trial ended up, like I said, being a perfect storm. I achieved the remission that I needed to achieve. I said that an initial cancer diagnosis of this nature would take 2 to 3 years. In 28 days, I was, do we call it cured? I don't know. Can we call it cured? CART-19 didn't cure me, but CART-22 could. It's a new and advanced cellular therapy. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm always going to have that worry of, is my cancer going to return? And it's likely that it could and would. But because of the work that you guys continue to do, and because of the support that I get from my amazing team at UPenn and all the professionals and associates who support me, it has really given me a second chance at life. This life is, this second CAR-T taught me a lot about paying it forward and inspiring others. My goal is to not only figure out how to fix my life and put the pieces back together, but how to take my story and incorporate it and help others just as they have helped me. we don't know if we have a cure for cancer yet, but we're working toward that. And this is where I say thank you for all of your effort, for your hard work, and for inspiring me and others to work together and to create or reach a dream that we're all working hard to achieve. Thank you.